The verse of the day is Proverbs 12:16, and it says, "A fool is quick-tempered, but a wise person stays calm when insulted." We see the contrast between fool or the wicked and the wise a lot in Proverbs, and it's trying to paint a picture of the difference between someone who fears God and someone who doesn't. Something about that is you can believe in God and not fear him. So a lot of the Proverbs apply to the believers because it teaches us how to fear God more. There's no such thing as fearing God 100% and doing it perfectly. We're on this journey of learning how to fear him more and more, how to be more and more obedient. And it's so important to know that because God doesn't need your perfection in terms of following him, in terms of trusting him, in terms of how we respond, whether it's quick-tempered or not. He just needs us to be people continuing to pursue him every day, continuing to look more like him, continuing to take the parts of us that don't look like him and bring them to him and seek growth and seek more freedom and seek to align all of our actions, thoughts, will, emotions with God's. Something that immediately sticks out to me is if we're contrasting the fool versus the wise and those who fear God and those who don't, it immediately shows me that a fool is someone who is led by their thoughts, their emotions, their feelings, because they're being the leader. When you fear God, God is your ultimate leader. That's why wisdom comes, because you're tapping into strength that you need in order to be wise. So the fool who is quick-tempered relies on their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Those who are wise know that just because they're feeling it doesn't mean it's accurate. Just because they're feeling it doesn't mean it's worth lashing out. There's layers to learning how to respond in love, and a lot of it looks like holding your tongue, because that's showing true love. That's unconditional love, rather than giving people what they deserve, because God calls us to love our enemies. God calls us to turn the other cheek. God calls us to choose love even when it doesn't feel good, even when you want to lash out and you want to give revenge. So the reason why a fool is quick-tempered is because they rely instantly on the feeling in the moment, because they rely on what they're thinking, feeling. So they can quickly respond to what they're feeling because they respond to them. The reason why the wise stay calm is for two reasons. They don't rely on their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. They rely on God's. So just because they're feeling it, they're able to shuffle it out and be like, okay, is this my flesh or is this God? Let me hold on, process with God, and then figure out how I want to respond. And then the other reason why the wise will respond calm is because the insults or the things we get from people don't define you. So if someone insults you and it's not who you are, you're able to respond peacefully because you're not afraid of that being true, because you know how God sees you. The more you become confident in how God sees you, the less the insults of the world affect you, because you're rooted in his opinion and not man. So your fear of man isn't the one dictating your thoughts, will, and emotions. Fear of God is dictating you. So you're not going to be quick to respond, to lash out, because you're confident in what God says. And that's all that matters. If you're super confident and rooted in your identity in God, then the lies of the world, the insults of the world, they won't hit as hard because you know they're not true. The only reason why certain insults hit hard and you want to lash out, a lot of times is because there might be some sort of belief that that's true. So you want to hurry up and lash out or respond to protect yourself or to not fall into shame, where if you are simply rooted in how God sees you, the insults bounce off of you because you know they're not true. So it doesn't affect you because their opinion doesn't matter, only God's does. So when I think about any time that I'm being quick-tempered or I want to lash out or respond or I'm having all these emotions come up, a lot of times it's because it's hitting a trigger or a belief that I have about whatever that person is saying about me. But if you don't believe it, then it loses its power. Then you won't react as big. The only reason why we get quick-tempered is because we feel threatened, right? If we're not threatened by the opinion of people or the misunderstandings or the blatant lies or insults, then we can remain calm, maintain our peace, because our peace comes from God, not from man. The funny part about it is I think when you're rooted in God, he's your ultimate defender. He tells you who you are. He fights your battles. When God isn't the leader of your life. When you don't fear God, that's you. You are your defender. You fight your battles. You have to be the one to defend yourself. So the reason why insults make you want to lash out when you are the leader, when you're the decision maker, when you follow your feelings, is because who else is going to do it? You're the one that needs to fight your battles, because that's the mindset you have. But when you remember that God is the one that fights your battles, that He is the one that tells you who you are, that His opinion is all that matters, it helps you get off guard and not defend yourself, because God is your defender. But I think every moment where we do have a quick temper, where we do have the rise of adrenaline, or we want to respond, or we react quickly, it's not to shame you. God says, okay, this is how you responded. How do we move forward in a way that's healthier? How do we move forward in a way that helps you remember who I see you as? That helps you remember that I'm the one who can fight your battles. That helps you remember that His love is all that's necessary, not the love of people. So we can learn how to grow out of the quick temper the more we rely on God in the midst of those emotions. The more you regulate your emotions with God, the less scary your emotions are going to feel when they come up. So you might be feeling insulted, or this rising feeling of frustration, but the more you're not afraid of it, and the more you see it as an area of growth, the less out of control you're going to feel, and the more you're going to be able to process and work through those emotions with God in a way that's healing, and in a way that will help you respond different in the future. Today's verse really just reveals a belief system. A fool is quick-tempered. They're quick-tempered because they believe maybe what the person said could be true. A wise person stays calm because they know that God's opinion of who they are is all that's true and all that matters. So you're able to rest and be still, because your peace comes from within, not from the approval of people or what people have to say about you. The more we learn how to fear God, the more we're going to have that calm, cool, collected nature, because that comes with the Holy Spirit. So pursuing relationship with Jesus and learning your true identity in Him, and learning how to root your identity in Him and not in the opinion of man, is going to teach you how to have that calmness, because you're not going to be needing anything from anyone else, because you're getting all your needs met by God. The more we pursue a heart that fears God, the more this comes into play. The more we're going to see ourselves respond different, have more peace, not lash out. It'll be the work of the Holy Spirit in you, and you get to be aware of it and run to God with the area of opportunity every step of the way. Okay?